The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. In today's episode, they're going to be calling me a MindsEye defender, a MindsEye fanboy. And here's the thing. MindsEye, don't get me wrong, it is not in its best state. I will admit that. I will say that the game is not in its best state, but I am not going to say that it is a bad game. And you know what's funny is that those that are saying that it is a bad game, let you talk about their favorite video game and see won't they be doing the same thing that I'm doing, defending it. Now, I'm not saying that this is my all-time favorite game, but at the same time, I'm not going to say that it's the worst game that I've played. When there's games out there, I was just playing the one game, Scum, and they had it where you can't hold multiple items in your hand to craft stuff. So they're telling me I got to craft this backpack. I go and try to collect sticks. They don't explain how to collect the sticks. Let's think of another game, Sea Power. The UI in that game, and for those that don't know, UI is the menu and how to navigate throughout the game and stuff. But the UI in that game is just flat out horrible. No, it's one of those things where I'm if this were to come out back in before 2003, 2000, that PlayStation 2 era, that game wouldn't have been as difficult as it is. So there's games out there where they, for some odd reason, they're hand functions, they're not going to be how it is realistically, where you can hold multiple items. Then you're going to have some games out there where it's confusing. You have a better chance solving a Rubik's Cube than trying to figure out games I think I mentioned that I said the name Sea Power. But anyways, what else? Elden Ring. They want to have it where it's this game is just on the most extremely difficult difficulty of all times, and it's bro, I just want an easy experience. A game is people are wanting the easy experience when they're creating mods for an easy experience. And then I'm trying to think of some other games out there. Then you got some games. There's this one game where I bought this game years ago, and Steam, they're giving me a refund, or so the developers, they shut the game down. They shut the whole project down. I think they shut their company down too, but they did say they was if you want a refund, just go through this this other way of asking for your money back, and then we'll give you your money and stuff. But you got developers out there where it's their game, it's just something's overall wrong with it. They refuse to work on it, and then next thing you know, you see where they come out and say, oh yeah, our game is shutting down. Our game ain't. Then let's talk on games shutting down. Let's talk on the day before. Whatever happened with that game. I mean, we all know what happened, but overall though, it's you guys are gonna tell me that the day before had a better launch than MindsEye, when the day before it was supposed to be a survival zombie game. That's what it was supposed to be. That's what they were advertising. This was supposed to be a zombie survival game. It was a blend of The Division and DayZ. How did we get an extraction shooter? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I think that game was $40. I ain't pay no $40 for an extraction shooter. I paid $40 for a game that was a zombie survival game. So that's why I'm it trips me out where it's there's all these different games that came out, right? And then, you don't see where people, there's some of those games I mentioned where it's you see some people talking about them and stuff. Probably the one game being the day before. But I would have to say, though, what is MindsEye current rating? It's mixed, right? No, mostly negative. Never mind. My thing is this. I would rather have it where it's there than an overwhelmingly negative, and then having to tell people hey, if you want to get your money back, you very well can. It don't matter how long that you played the game. And then and on top of that, we're shutting down everything's, and we're now, and then it's you ain't gonna have no choice but to get your money back, because we ain't gonna have this game in production no more. That's what happened with the day before. That's what happened with that whole situation. And then let's just mention some games where they did have successful comebacks. And and it's they're probably, well, I wouldn't say, because there's two of them where it's it's the first of its kind. But then there was one where it was ended up being one of the best in its series. But anyways, probably, just starting off with the first one. Batman Arkham Knight. I remember when that game came out, that game had an overwhelmingly that was the first time I ever heard where Steam was like, hey, it don't matter if you've played this game for 2 hours and owned it for 2 weeks. If you want to get your money back, you very well can. That was a Batman game. That's a game that's like let me see, because I think it's WB that owns that game. But anyways, let's see. Batman Arkham Knight. Dang, that game came out 10 years ago. That's crazy. But anyways, yeah, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers overall owns that game or published it, but I think they do own the rights to the Batman games and stuff. Biggest company, they're like, I don't know how you guys can be in the position that you're in and release a game that's not good. But from what I remember hearing, yeah, they did say that the game, it was extremely buggy. There was all these problems with it. It was unplayable. So yeah, that's why Steam was like, hey, it don't matter how long you've owned this game. We're going to have it where you can get your money back at any given point in time. Fast forward, No Man's Sky comes out. I think that was the very next year. No Man's Sky comes out. Overall, it's one of those games where, they showed trailers. They made it seem like that this was going to be the greatest game of all time. Game came out. I remember, and that was the whole reason I remember why I had bought a PlayStation 4. I bought a PlayStation 4. I went ahead and bought No Man's Sky. Game comes out. I'm playing it, and I'm like, fam, what am I supposed to be doing with this? It's like, it sounds cool on paper. It's like, it's this game where you get to travel all these different planets. It's going, you pretty much won't be able to beat it in this lifetime. This is one of those games you just explore and just do a bunch of different stuff, right? That wasn't the case with No Man's Sky. That game, that was probably the first time I really paid attention to a buggy game. Because before that, I always had my mind made up on what game I wanted to get. Plus, that was at that time where it was like Xbox 360 games were still in GameStops, and I'm trying to think, maybe Best Buy. I mainly shopped at GameStops, but yeah, it was like I was mainly playing old games and stuff. So I think at that time being, I still had my Xbox 360. No, wait a minute. I think I did have my Xbox One, but I wasn't going out and just getting whatever game. I was like, no, that was, cause I had to say that was around the time where I just started working in Seattle. So I just started making some money, and I was like, nah, my money is valuable. I ain't gonna just be out there buying games. I don't know too much about them and stuff. But anyways, I was like, no, that was the one time where I did start paying attention to a really buggy game and stuff besides Batman this, cause I didn't buy Batman Arkham Knight at the time when it came out. I ended up buying that till years later, but or whenever and stuff. But anyways, yeah, No Man's Sky, I was like, wow, this game is it's not all that good. I'm like, dang, man. I mean, I did get a PlayStation 4 out of it, but wow, all right, I guess. I didn't even really, I think I remember it was shortly after that I ended up trading in I was like, I heard some noise outside, but anyways, but no, overall, I ended up trading in No Man's Sky. I was like, I did not enjoy that game. I was like, nope, not even gonna fool with it. But anyways, eventually they did do some updates. They started working on that game. Next thing you know, probably one of the best space exploring games out there, where it's you get to actually enjoy it. You get to actually, and I know the times where I've sat down and played it, I'm like, wow, this doesn't seem or feel like the same game that came out back in 2016. But here we are, where it's we're playing a game where it's yes, this is No Man's Sky. This ain't No Man's Sky 2, 3, 4. No, this is No Man's Sky 1. This is the same game that came out back in 2016. And I'm like, fam, where was this game at back in 2016? But anyways, then the next game, and I think, yeah, this is probably the most buggiest and glitchiest game I would have to say that it came out in the recent years. But anyways, Cyberpunk 2077. Now, when they announced that game, when they were when I had started hearing about that game and stuff, I think the biggest thing was Keanu Reeves is going to be in it. This is going to be one of those story games where it's going to really have your mind locked in. It's there's no way possible that they could go wrong with this. Especially you got somebody big time like Keanu Reeves, John Wick, Neo. What is his name? Neo or Leo? I always get that mixed up. Hold on for a second. Let me look that up real quick. Neo. Okay, no, I was right. But anyways, yeah, you got Neo. I'm trying to think, what was this character's name in Speed? Regardless of the fact, you got Keanu Reeves in this video game. There is no way possible that you can mess this up, right? The game comes out. I remember that week too, because that was, I think it was, or did it come out? I think it might have came out before the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5s. Hold on for a second. Let me see when exactly that game came out, because I think it was around that time. No, it came out. Yeah, no, it came out after that. So yeah, it was like a month after the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5s came out. But I knew that they were saying that it wasn't going to be all that, or it wasn't all that good on PC. So at that time being, I don't even think I had like a gaming PC to play it off of. So I was like, I'll play it off of my Xbox Series X, brand new console. How could it possibly go wrong, bro? That was, man, I'm telling you, that was, to say, like, No Man's Sky. I felt like I seen some bugs where I was like, that doesn't look right. Cyberpunk 2077, fam, that game was buggy. I probably still have, no, I think I do still have the video up when I had played that game for the first time, and I was like, man, this ain't right, bro. This just doesn't seem right. I'm like, because that's one thing about like playing games on console and then playing it on PC is that you'll be able to tell the difference of when you're playing a PC game and a console game. Console games run smooth. Like it's almost as if like they developed the game on console and then transfer it over to a PC file, and it just doesn't play right. And then next thing you know, that's why you got games like Cyberpunk 2077 or any other buggy game that came out. But anyways, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, it comes out, I play it, and I'm like, yeah, this game's gonna have to cook. It's 100% gonna have to cook. And that's one thing about each of those games, Batman, Arkham Knight, No Man's Sky, and Cyberpunk 2077. It took years to get those games to where they need to get to. So that's why I'm like, with MindsEye, the thing is this. MindsEye has bugs. It has some problems. But that's the thing, though, where I'm like, it's not problems that's affecting my, because I'm trying to think, it was maybe a couple of things I experienced. Like, other than that, yeah, game's pretty, it doesn't run all that smooth, but overall, I was still able to play it. I was still able to, and I actually had beat the game last night. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I just think that there are some things that they need to work on, some things that they need to add, some things that they need to change up, downgrade a little bit, because I think that's one thing with these developers is that they be having these like high-end gaming PCs, and then they be developing those games off of those PCs, and they're going based off of their specs. But I'm like, no, you gotta go based off of the average specs. Like I don't know how that stuff overall works out, where if it's like they're testing it out on multiple gaming PCs, and then they're like, okay, yeah, we'll just release the game and then just come out with some patches and stuff afterwards. But they need to, my thing is this, I'm not saying you need to go out and get some cheap gaming PC and develop the game off of that, but you need to understand that everybody's not going to have the same gaming PC. Now, whatever is going on console, that's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know how you guys can possibly, my thing is this, if you play the game and it wasn't all that smooth, this is, I guess, like, talking to the MindsEye developers and, like, getting on them about their game and stuff, because, yeah, no, the game is buggy. The game is 100% buggy and glitched out, but it's still playable, all right? And it was interesting to me, the story and all that stuff. And my thing is this, whatever you played on console, if you played a buggy and glitched out game, why do you think people will want to deal with that? Like, that's something where it's like, not even just talking to the MindsEye developers, but just talking to all developers. Why do you guys think that that people want to sit down and play glitched out and buggy games and stuff? Because even some other games I can think of, one being the game that I had recently got into, but I haven't even touched that game since NBA 2K25. Having it where it's like they called me out of bounds, and both and the player, the one that I passed the ball to, both his feet were it was inside the court lines. Like, he was not out of bounds, but they called him for being out of bounds. Then when I'm playing it after that, the Jason Tatum basketball player, for those that don't know, I imagine it's like, yeah, I guess like you don't follow basketball like that. But anyways, yeah, popular basketball player, Jason Tatum, cover the guy that's on the cover of NBA 2K25. And I don't know, maybe because he's on the cover, he gets special privileges. But I'm like, fam, realistically, I don't care what cover you're on, you're not gonna be able to do this. He blocked the pass. Like, I passed it to one of my teammates. He blocked the pass, but how he did it was that he stuck his hand through another player's head. Now, in most cases, that would kill a person. Your hand can't just go through a person's head like that unless that person's a ghost or you have some sort of powers where you can phase through objects and people and stuff. First, I thought it was objects. I guess that power you can phase through people too. But anyways, but yeah, if not that, then it's like, fam, why is that in the game? Why is that programmed in the game? And you know what's crazy? Somebody tried to defend that recently. I had posted, because I posted the clip on, I think it was YouTube. I think it was YouTube where I posted it on. And they were all like, oh, it's almost as if like it's not realistic. And I'm like, fam, like, I don't know if that person was overall trying to insult me or if they were trying to crack a joke on NBA 2K. That's why at times I'm like, look, people, you're going to have to explain things, like if you cracking a joke and all that stuff. Because most people, it's like, I'm going to look at it as like, okay, if you're trying to get on me about, I guess, my criticism towards NBA 2K, I didn't pay for a game to have it where players is phasing through other players. Like, that's never happened in NBA history, so why is that programmed in the video game? That just tells me that the developers, so there's developers out there where I'll have to say, yeah, the developers behind Batman Arkham Knight, No Man's Sky, and Cyberpunk 2077, they care about their game. They didn't want their game to be unsuccessful. They wanted their game to be the best possible game that can be out there and stuff. What's NBA 2K's or 2K's excuse? Having it where it's like, you guys have been coming out with video games, I think, since the 90s, I think? Hold on for a second. Let me see. When did 2K release their first NBA game? November 10th, 1999. That was the first time you guys released the video game. And you mean to tell me that you couldn't get it right? Like, I guess like 1999, like what consoles was out at that time? Hold on for 1 second. I gotta go do something real quick. All right, I'm back. Just had to pick up some pair of shoes. Ordered me some shoes, and I was like, nah, yeah, I gotta tend to those real quick. You got them porch pirates out there. I think I might talk about that in an episode at some point. But yeah, I'm like, you got games like NBA 2K. And that's what I was talking on, where it's like there's just some developers out there that just don't care. They'll come out with some stuff and it's like, fam, that they don't do stuff like that in real life. Why would you guys program that in the video game? Another game that I can think of, for an example, The Division. Now, if you guys, that's a game where I'm like, look, at some moments the gameplay is good. Like, I got mixed feels about The Division, because there's at moments where the gameplay, it's amazing. I'm like, nah, can't go wrong. But then they have like some other moments where it's like your character will get stuck like in cover or something. And I'm like, fam, if I'm pressing the button for you to get out of cover because there is enemies running towards you with guns, axes, flamethrowers, whatever it is, you need to get up and run. Why are you still sitting there? And I know there's going to be people out there that's going to try to defend that. And I'm like, well, that's how I am with MindsEye. I am defending that game, because in any other game that I've done talked on where people are all like, oh, you just don't like that game, you a hater, you this or that. And I'm like, no. The thing is this. If I buy a game and I want an experience with that game, I expect to get an experience with that game. If I buy that game and don't get the experience that I want, then that's a problem. Then I'm going to have to talk about it. Now I'm going to have to make me some videos, social media posts, whatever, to overall let people know this isn't a game worth. Because when I look at myself, like when it comes to gaming, besides playing the game, I'm also a reviewer. I'm a content creator. People, I feel like, yeah, their name, and I know that there are people that come to my channel that see how I feel about a certain video game. So I'm not going to steer them in the wrong direction. But overall, the thing is this, I am going to tell the truth when it comes down to a video game. So I'm not going to run with the crowd because, oh, everybody likes Elden Ring, now I got to like Elden Ring. No. I'm going to be flat out honest with you. That game, in my opinion, it's not all that good. All right, it's one of those games where it's like, yeah, there's all these different bosses and all this stuff, but it's like, what's the point of playing that game if you can't even get past the first boss? And I'm like, it's stuff like that where it's like, you got to sit down and think about it. There are going to be people that just want to hurry up and get through the story. But I mean, not like, like hurry up, I guess, like having it where it's just, so they taking enemies out in one hit. Like, yeah, have it where it's a fair fight. But what sense does that make of having it where I'm going out? That's like pretty much me going off up into a UFC camp where everybody in there is trained. Like, everybody in there is undefeated. But I'm telling them, oh, yeah, I can fight you guys and win. Do you think that I'm going to be able to get 1,000 chances of fighting each and every one of those fighters until I win? No, my thing is this. If that's the case where I'm not all that trained to go up against these mythical creatures that exist in this Elden Ring forest, I am going to train. I am going to get better. I am going to get to a point where either it's an even out fight or I'm going to have the advantage. But I do not. How much is Elden Ring again? Because they got like two different they got the DLC and they got Elden Ring, then this DLC, and then they got this like standalone game. But let me see real quick. So you got Elden Ring that costs $59.99. You got this Night Rain like standalone thing that costs $39.99. And then you got this Shadow of Erdtree, I think, that costs $39.99. I'm not paying that much money to have it where the game has the upper hand, because that's something that I've always asked about games like that. What does the NPC gain from beating me? What do they get any points? Do they level up? Do they get some specialized armor? Do they get no? They don't get none of that. That's why I'm like, a game that I can think of where it's not like Elden Ring, but they do have like boss fights in there is Destiny. They don't have it set up on those stuff where it's like, oh, if you're not a high enough level, then they'll have it set up where you ain't gonna be able to get through a mission all fast and easy and stuff. But if you're a high enough level, then you shouldn't have a problem going up against any of the enemies in the game. Not Elden Ring. And there's at times people they be trying to like get, or even the one game X4 Foundations, where it's like they want to have it set up where they have you. Here's the thing. X4 Foundation, it's one of those games where I'm like, the game can be good, but the fan base, in my opinion, just ruined it. I'm like, no, that's a fan base where I'm like, I do not ever want to be a part of that fan base. Because they let you talk about that. No, just put it to the test. Just play X4 Foundations. Wait until that game is on sale. Do not buy that game at full price. Wait until that game is on sale. Buy it, play it, see if you like it. If you do, then you got yourself a new game to play. But if you don't, talk about the issues and the frustrations that you have with X4 Foundations and see won't them fans be going after you. And I'm like, fam, I'm not allowed to have my opinion on the game. Like, there's podcast episodes that I posted probably months ago. People still comment on those episodes till this day. Having it where one guy wanted to debate me over his, like, no, he didn't like what I said about X4 Foundation, so he's like, no, now I gotta debate you. And I'm like, fam, is this like a way of an internet fight? Like, I say something bad, and then all of a sudden debate. It's not fighting. It's not internet fighting. It's debating. And I'm like, bro, get out of here with that. I'm not gonna debate you over me not liking a video game. I'm like, that's crazy. But anyways, but I know people will probably ask, like, what was my issues with that? From the difficulty, from the length of the tutorial. I'm saying, like, here's the thing with X4 Foundations. The length of the tutorial, it's pretty much like its own separate game. How they should have done that, and I'm like, I don't know how people would be mad about that, but I think how they should have did that is had it where the tutorial was the demo. So have it where there's an X4 Foundations demo where it's like, it lists out all the different things that you're going to be learning and stuff. So like overall, like, yeah, the demo is just the tutorial section. And then you go out and buy the game, and then you get to explore all these different stories and all these different things. Not have it where it's all combined in. So then when you are playing the tutorial, it's going to definitely take you more than 2 hours to play through all the tutorials and stuff. But overall, though, and you can be one of those guys that speed runs, play the game off fast, still, it's going to take you more than 2 hours to play the tutorial. And so let's say you play the game, or you play the tutorial, and then you play the game, but you realize, like, it might not be the reasons why I don't like the game, but it might be your own, where it's like, oh, it takes too long to do certain things, like, oh, I can't navigate all that well, like the flight controls is kind of difficult compared to like other games, you know, it's like they're making it too much of a sim than, you know, a video game and stuff. Like, here's the thing, you're not going to be able to get your money back. I guess, like, for those that don't really know too much about refund policies and all that stuff with Steam, yeah, you play a game beyond that 2 hour mark, you ain't going to be able to get your money back for X4 Foundations. And you can't tell those guys, like, oh, well, I didn't like the game, so even though I played it for more than 2 hours. And that's the thing, Steam needs to know that it's going to take more than 2 hours to play a game. So that's why I'm like, yeah, they should definitely work on that. But the thing is this, though, all those games I listed off, I had more fun with MindsEye. So that's why I'm like, I'm not trying to sound like a fanboy, but at the same time, I'm not going to say bad things about this game when there ain't like a whole lot of bad things to really say about the game. There ain't nothing wrong with it. I mean, if there was, I would have said that, but there's not. The game is buggy. The game has some glitches, but overall though, it's just going, the developers, I know that they're going to come out with some updates, fix it, get all that stuff situated, and then eventually we gonna be looking at this game like, when's a MindsEye 2 coming out? When we gonna get MindsEye 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and continuing on and stuff. So that's why I'm like, yeah, you know, people, it's funny because people are trying to compare it to Saints Row, the last Saints Row game that they came out with, and I'm like, fam, that game was fun too. You know, if you guys were expecting the old-fashioned Saints Row games, and it's like, okay, then you're gonna have to play the old Saints Row games. But if you're gonna be playing this Saints Row game, it's like it's a completely different game from that series. So that's why I'm like, yeah, you know, people. You got some people out there where it's like they criticize a game. Like there's two types of critics when it comes to MindsEye. There's those critics where they just following with the crowd of everybody not liking the game, and then there's the critics where it's like they're actually sitting down and playing the game and giving you guys like valuable information on whether or not, like, you know, or you overall thinking to yourself if I'm gonna buy this game or not. But then they on some stuff where it's like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna listen to what everybody else is saying. If they don't like the game, I'm not gonna like the game, and I'm just because I'm pretty sure that there's people out there that have criticized MindsEye and they've never even played it. So that's why, or if they did, they only played like what the first mission was all like, nope, don't like it. And it's like they already had their mind made up going into that game that they're not going to like it. So that's why I'm like, yeah, anybody that's criticizing MindsEye, I'm like, hey, that's on you, bro. I guess criticizing it in a negative way. But if you're having neutral criticism where you're like, hey, I'm like, you're speaking from the heart, you know, you're speaking from like you're actually telling the truth on when you're, because I guarantee and I promise you strap some of these people up to a lie detector test and see if they lying about their quote unquote hatred for MindsEye. Yeah, you're gonna have some people out there being called out like, fam, you're lying, like you don't even know about this game like that. So but anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.